Monday, SportsCage after a Rider victory. Welcome to the show. Whether you're out driving, maybe you're at work, working out on the farm, at the lake, listening on the app, watching and listening on YouTube, or just on the old radio, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be here for the next 3 hours. Curtis is working in the pocket today. He's got the Croft Electric question hat ready to go. Ryan Pollock will join me for hours 2 and 3. He'll be here. All of our guests are on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings. Our sports tickers are brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, Extreme Hockey and Sport, and Steelcraft Doors Regina. We have SaskTel Pick the Score to play today. If you want tickets to the game this Friday against Edmonton, stay tuned. We're going to have those. We'll also have some Regina Red Sox tickets to give away. It's a busy 3 hours here. Guests include Luke Mullender in about 10 minutes' time. Coach's show coming up. It's always great when we have listener engagement. So if you got any questions for Philip Daniels, 936-6262, the Prairie Land Rentals text line. We'll take a few of those and ask Coach Daniels about his defensive line. Maybe it's about anything you want. Hour 3, Darian Durant will be here as per usual. So a fun show. We're coming off a Rider victory against the BC Lions. And there are a lot of things that I need to ask you guys out there. The Riders were out-physicaled. We heard that a lot last week against the Calgary Stampeders. Well, they go into British Columbia, the city of Vancouver. I felt that the Riders won that game. Doesn't it feel when you woke up on Sunday, maybe you woke up late Saturday night if you're on an absolute heater, and you were like, I feel the Riders won that game by at least 21 points. It wasn't as close as the final score states. That's what I'm thinking. Curtis, you're nodding over there. I think 33-27, like that could be an absolute shootout to the end. It was anybody's game. We did nothing. It wasn't even that close. It wasn't. The Riders, as the kids say, mopped them. AJ Ouellette coming off 9 yards. Had a tidy 72. Trevor Harris, 5 yards short of 400, again, in the pocket. When you give him time, a clean pocket, as they say, and he's got the receivers buzzing in and around. And we're going to get to his comment in a bit, because the one comment he said in the post-game show, I've been actually kind of waiting for him to say something along those lines. So I'll get to that. But Dante Myers, anytime touchdown bet. Oh, yeah. Sprinkle. But an acquaintance of mine had a Dante Myers first quarter touchdown bet. So he was really payday for him. And then defensively, like we had Philip Daniel coming up in a bit. They were the dominant ones. They out-physicaled. There's always things to work on, don't get me wrong. But let's remember, how many times last year have the Riders gone into BC Place, that funky roof, in their white jerseys, and lost? Got the brakes beaten off them. And we sit as Rider Nation, as fans, and go, oh, man, we're not that good. We can't win in there. It was the exact opposite this time around. It felt old school. Again, it wasn't a 33-27 game. It is on the stat sheet, I'm aware of that. But it felt like the Riders won by at least 21. Comments to get to. God, you got to love Coach Mace, right? This is all from Saturday and the post-game show. We'll start with Coach Mace.
Oh, man, I thought offensively we were dang efficient all freaking night. Big plays on special teams, too. We managed to get a turnover. Defensively, I thought that we stood up enough. I thought we bent a little bit too much. Wasn't very pleased with the way we ended that. I mean, we had a pick six, to definitely end the game, and then, we're offside, right? So, that kind of stuff we'll clean up, but, I'm not going to throw any shade on this team. We challenged these guys all week, and they challenged each other, and what a way to respond.
First time, or at least in my mind, that you really jumped out in that first quarter. You know what I mean? It's been a slow start, and here it was just from the get-go. What went into that?
Yeah, I think just the guys executing, man. That's all we've been talking about, is just everybody being able to be the best at every single play, what you're supposed to do. Period. And in saying that, you know what I mean. I thought the play calling offensively was awesome. I thought Trevor was able to find them. O-line held up, man. I think we rushed the ball well. I think we kept the quarterback upright for the most part. And Trevor was back there just dialing. So it was excellent to see.
So much focus of this game. I was listening to some of the interviews here pregame. Focused on the Riders' ability to play physical brand of football, right? And perhaps that being absent from the last week. Talk about how physicality plays into your offensive success.
Oh man, I mean that's everything. I know you would be one to agree with me. People talk about physicality. You'd never really offense is never the first side of the ball you want to go to or think comes to your mind. But with us, that's exactly what we want people to think is. Offensively, they're going to beat the heck out of you up front. The receivers are going to block their tails off. They're going to yak it up. That's physical football, how they protect the quarterback. And these guys, they believe in it. And I thought they did a good job tonight.
I love when Coach May says freaking and dang. Love those. There's some other T-shirts for the Riders store. Unfortunate, gruesome, Kadeem Carey. And I don't know, so I'm listening to the game. Dave and Luke, great call. Did he call off the cart? And he wanted to, if you're watching the stream, there it is. He wanted to go off on his own. Let's be honest. He ain't coming back this year. Is that the end of his career? We don't know. You never want to see it, even if you see that on the other side, on the from another player, and it happens. It's football. You see it in baseball. There's some girl. Remember Moises Alou when he turned his ankle? I think that was Moises Alou, wasn't it? Ooh, we just don't want to see that ever again. But it's unfortunate. And he seemed like such a good fit. And they talk about how he was just happy to be here. Well, here's Coach Mace talking about him.
Didn't look great, and that's tough. I know how happy he was to be here, be a part of this organization. And, obviously our history together. I love that guy. And, man, it just, this is always this. It's just this crappy part about the game. Yeah, we'll see, man. But that was just tough.
So the questions, and I didn't get a chance to tune into the fifth quarter and Rider Roundtable and all that. But right away, I think I actually even tweeted this. I don't tweet often. What's Frankie Hickson doing? And then the other side is the other hot name. What is Walter Fletcher doing? And I love the name Walter because that was my dad's name. So Frankie would know the offense, right? Luke's coming up in a bit. Luke will have a good take on this. But again, casual fan guy here, just like you out there listening. Frankie, he was good for us. Nothing wrong with him. Little flash and dash, different runner than AJ. Remember us last year? We were calling it thunder and lightning. We had all these terms and names, and we liked Frankie. Frankie was good. Frankie was good for us. But with Thomas Bertrand Houdon injured, we we can't go into the game Friday against Edmonton with one running back. Can we? Who is going to be back there? Alberto Wachi. Love that handle also. But let's be honest, he's not a running back there. I got another thing about Alberto Wachi coming up here in a bit. Frankie Hickson would know the offense, you would think, or know most of it. Comfortable, knows the guys. Probably still, has things that he borrowed from players and bring them back. But Walter Fletcher was a damn good running back for the Montreal Alouettes. Big name. Bring him in. Remember when it was, who we bring in, Kadeem Carey, or we bring in Walter Fletcher? Who are we bringing in? And we brought in Carey. That is a question I want to get Luke's take on. We'll get Darian's take on it later. And you can have your say. Prairieland Rentals text line, 936-6262. Heck, the phone lines will be open after Luke. If you want to chat, if you want to chit-chat, as they say, you're welcome. There's a toll-free number as well, 1-866-767-0620. What should they do? What do you like out there? Who do they bring in? We'll have Luke Mullender in a bit. It is a Sports Cage on this Monday for Kellen Solar, anything solar. See them in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. We are streaming at sportscage.com, and we are on the home of the Rider, 620 CKRM. Prairieland Rentals text line, somewhat buzzing here, and I gotta say, text of the day so far is from Kevin in Foam Lake. Andrew Harris out of retirement. That's all he says. That's funny. I wonder if Andrew Harris actually had a brief moment where he's thought about it. How many plays do I got left in this body? Still looks good. Keep them coming, 936-6262, 600 Albert Street, Prairieland Rentals, whatever you need to rent. They got you covered. Let's go out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, where Luke Mullender is standing by. Luke, let's start with the injury and Kadeem Carey. Never want to see it. Gross. I don't want to see it again. I was driving when it happened, listening to you and Dave. Obviously, he's not coming back. Devastating. He was a great fit here. What would you do? Would it be Frankie Hickson? Would it be Walter Fletcher, who doesn't know maybe they play a book as well? What would Luke Mullender do?
Well, what I would do is I would go to my scouting depth chart that has these scenarios of who we're calling after a major injury to the current depth, and I'd call that guy. If it was me, I would call Walter Fletcher. I know what I'm getting in Frankie Hickson, and he's a good player. I like Walter Fletcher's game in this system a little bit more, though. So that's probably the direction that I would head. But again, Walter Fletcher might be getting offers somewhere. Who knows what that situation is looking like for him. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously a top tier back that you'd want in your program at some point. If it comes up, obviously.
Is there anything to the we're going to short go around here? We got to play Friday. Frankie would maybe there would be some continuity. He would know the playbook, yada yada. Does that weigh into it at all?
Yes and no. I would assume that it's something that would be an advantage. But again, if Walter Fletcher or somebody else is out there, I would go there first. Again, Frankie Hickson's a good player. I know what I'm getting in Frankie. I really like Walter Fletcher's game too. So that's where I'd head. But you're right. There's always an advantage when somebody knows the playbook. Absolutely.
I woke up on Sunday and I looked at the score and I'm like, man, I felt like the Riders won that game by 21 points. Did you feel that? Yeah. Like it wasn't as close as what the score says.
No, it wasn't as close at all. I think I think that one of the things that you'd want to look at as a team, watching that game the day after or whatever, is simply, hey, look, how do we put the final nail in the coffin a lot earlier here, guys, right? Like, what are we letting a team hang around for that they had no business being in the game at any point with us? We should have just shut this down right away. And and honestly, those are things that you continue to develop throughout the season. It's not something that's just inherently in a team where you can just slam the door on someone. But you're right, Barney. I mean, that game, you can throw all the cliches as a coach you want in it. Well, we want to play for 60 minutes, and that wasn't a full 60-minute effort because there was a little bit of time that expired there in the fourth quarter that we weren't at our best. Whatever messaging you want to bet, you want that team to be able to just slam the door on an opponent, because that's what you're going to have to do in the last third of the year, right? Those final 6 games are all about slamming doors. You got to be able to finish then. So it's something that you're going to need to build into it as you go on.
The big buzzword last week after Calgary came in here and beat us was out-physicaled. Words. Riders flipped the script this time around. What did you see in the trenches?
Yeah, I thought they were a lot better. I mean, look at the offensive line. What was it? So I think that we were over 100 yards rushing. I can't remember Trevor Harris being hit a ton. I know he didn't get sacked, but not even hit a lot. That was big. I think that the defensive front for the Saskatchewan Roughriders did a lot better as well. There were spots where guys were getting knocked off the ball, but not as many. And I think that for the most part, I think that they did address the physical nature in which they want to roll out a game. So that was a good step. Now it's about consistency, right? Okay, look, guys, we know we can do this. I mean, we've done it for 5 out of the first 6 games of the year. How do we maintain that consistency? Because that's who they want to be, essentially, right? You're looking at an offense that is run first and build everything else that they're able to do off the run. Like even some of the play action throws, like look at how effective the play action pass is now that AJ Ouellette is getting rolling. Those linebackers, as soon as they see a run look, they're staying in. They're keying in on run. They're sucked up, and that gives you space to throw it over the top of them if they're slow to react, right? So if you're going to base everything you do off of having some success in the run game, you're going to need to be the more physical opponent all the time.
We haven't played the clip yet. We'll play it later this hour if we have time. But it was you talking to Trevor after the game, which we don't get, he's not a guest usually, but he had a great game. And the part that stood out to me, Luke, was him basically pointing out the shade that he gets thrown, that he's just a dink and dunk, just a short guy. And then he opened it up and went over top. I like that. I like that because he's a very straight and narrow guy. So for him to kind of say that, that kind of bugs him.
I don't think he's known as a dink and dunk guy. I think that the league just knows that Trevor Harris is going to get the ball out quickly. And that's not a bad thing at all, right? At all. There's QBs that hold the ball for too damn long, right? There's QBs that like it's not like he's known as a guy who's going to throw an interception at the wrong moment. I don't think he's known as a dink and dunk quarterback. I just think that teams know that if Trevor Harris sees somebody open, he's going to get him the ball quickly. The reason I think that he's having this success again is because they're a more balanced offense at the moment, right? If you don't have a running game, right? If you don't have a running game and you're pass first, you are going to probably get known as a dink and dunk because you're going to want to get those 5 and 6 yard bursts through the air, right? So you are going to be passing short. He's not a check down Charlie by any stretch of the imagination. I think that he's been having a good year, and again, they're just the things that they're doing, and especially when they're doing them well, they're hard to stop. This offense, it's hard to stop.
Put your sports show kind of hat on here, and I like it. You're a straight shooter. You tell it like it is. What is going on with Nathan Rourke, man? Like, there were a lot of throws that were open. The pocket was clean. He did, like, it's we didn't expect this, Luke. I don't think anybody expected it. I know there's a lot of people going, well, they chose the wrong quarterback. Well, that's easy to say. optics you had to take Rourke last year, anything that stands out to you why he is not looking as most people would have expected?
Well, you can't play Edmonton every week, right? Like, I think that, I think that, and that's not a slight, it's not a slight against Edmonton, but they've had tremendous success against Edmonton, right? You know what I mean? Well, no, it's just, they've had tremendous success against Edmonton. I think that you're right. I don't think he's the wrong quarterback. For what, especially for what they want to do. They want to air it out. They want to get the ball to Justin McInnes. But he did miss a few key throws. We were talking about it on the broadcast, right? Like, hey, that needed to be better from him, and he's going to need to be better. You can't come in, you can't spend as much time as you did sort of, in the NFL and essentially just come back and have an organization lay out the red carpet for you. You need to produce, and he's going to eventually need to produce. So, and I think that obviously the jeers are heard a little bit louder because VA is looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league at the moment, right? Like if you're BC, you're like, what the hell did we give up this? Look at VA, right? So that's probably where that's coming from, but he's got to be better flat out. That was a big game. That was a game that could really sort of keep the West tight outside of Edmonton, obviously. But them losing that game, I mean, they're going to be able to point to a few opportunities that they missed, and some were directly from him. Like, it wasn't like he didn't have time to make some of these throws. Yeah. Some of them were rushed. But again, he's got to be better. I think he'll probably know and recognize that, and they got to keep moving forward. I'm not sure who they got next, but
Hamilton.
They got to start. Yeah. They got Hamilton. Well, that's not going to be easy. Bo Levi Mitchell and Kenny Lawler look like Moss and Brady right now. Like crazy. Who will let this happen? Like when we were like, oh yeah, Kenny Lawler going to Hamilton in the offseason, that's nothing. And now we're all like, we should never have let that happen. Someone should have vetoed this because this is ridiculous. They look great, man. I like watching them. Yeah.
You didn't go Culpepper and Moss. You went Brady and Moss. So that's good because
Culpepper and Moss. No.
A rash is on
Brady
tomorrow.
And Moss. Brady would literally just wait for Randy to put his hand up in the air. Like that's what he would do. He would drop back and wait for Randy to put his hand up in the air. If Randy didn't put his hand up in the air, he'd throw to someone else. But as soon as Randy did, he would just wing it. And next thing you know, and that's what Kenny Lawler's doing. They look great. And it's good for the CFL. It's good for the CFL to see big plays like that being made consistently.
That is so. But the last thing on Rourke, though, and you see it, he puts a lot of pressure on himself. He knows he's got to be better. He knows that he's the highest paid QB. He knows all that, which is that pressure going to have an adverse, effect on him?
Oh, the problem I think with last game though is and now when you go in to look at the game before that game even started, right? What you saw out of BC and their wins was a really balanced team, but it was also a team, especially if you looked at the week before, that controlled the whole game. From the very start, they were not in control, right? The Riders went down. We played like they had a quick turnover off the punt, right? And they were down in the first quarter by like 17 right off the bat. So then you start rushing, and I was talking to Dave about it on the broadcast. Like, it's gonna be hard for the team not to start pressing right now. And so they got them out of their game plan too. To where the run game, for instance, like that whole second half, that was a non-running half essentially, right? It was a non-running back half for the BC Lions, and I don't think their offense is cut like
that. Sorry, Mike wasn't on. Brett Lawther, I said it. Hey, 4 for 4, controlled environment, confidence though, right?
Well, I don't think he kicked one over 40 yards either, though, right? Like, it's the large ones that we're worried about, right? We need the large ones, but yeah, 4 for 4 from Brett Lawther is awesome, right? Again, anytime you can get any type of momentum,
as a player, any type of player, anytime you start doing things well, the nice part about it, when you're in that mode, when you're in the I'm kicking well mode, or I'm tackling well mode, you get to lean on your routine that you've been rolling out through the week, right? So you get to, on Tuesday, for instance, on day 2 or day 1, you're able to sort of sit there and be like, well, this is what I did here a little bit extra last week, right? And it led to the 4-for-4 performance. Hey, I'm gonna skip going to Earl's on Wednesday, for instance, right? Like, I'm not saying Brent Lauter.
That used to be your spot.
Like, no, that was Tad Cornegay's spot. Don't put me in that. Don't. I still live in Regina. I don't want to be associated with that on Wednesday night. No. So again, you get to take the success that you've had from the week and say, okay, this is how it felt. This is what I did. Let's duplicate that. So now you just got to keep stacking.
Okay, couple more, and then we'll let you go. Attendance. They said 29,000. When I watched the game, saw the clips, the upper deck was empty. Am I a crazy person? It didn't look like 29.
No, they had the upper deck. The upper deck was open, period. So that justifies them open. Like,
okay.
The reason they had the upper deck open already, regardless, is because they had the people in the lower bowl. I thought it was a well-attended game. I'm not going to shake my head at BC. I've been there. I played there when I was younger. When they were filling that whole stadium, I played in the makeshift stadium that they used to have that was like near the ocean. It felt like, I don't know, my son and his friends built it. It wasn't very good,
We had some technical difficulty here. I don't think it's him. I don't think he touched anything.
Is that better?
Yeah, there you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just saying, and the reason why it was so packed there is because there's a lot of fans from Rider Nation there, which is awesome. BC has a huge contingent of Rider Nation fans. Like, there's a massive contingent of Rider fans in BC, and I love it, man, because they're always. We were walking in BC here the other day, and the guys walking by you, they see you, and they're like, "Go Riders!" Right? It's a great place to play.
Okay, and then the last thing, Dave was talking about this in the prep meeting this morning. You guys had a tough look and call because with the construction they're doing there, you couldn't see one of the end zones or part of the end zone.
No, we could see it. I think it was the TSN guys that can't see it right now. They're doing massive construction. Yeah, they're doing, and it's all for the World Cup, right? But they're building essentially another media side on the opposite side of the stadium. They're expanding the one that they have. So yeah, like the amenities were all kind of just spread out. You can tell they're putting a lot of effort into World Cup, and rightfully so. I'm pumped that it's going. And because of the turmoil that is the United States of America at the moment, it sounds like we might be getting some more games for the World Cup. So I'm pumped about that.
Exactly. What an event that's going to be. 26 degrees.
It's going to be awesome, man.
26 degrees on Thursday, sunny skies. So that's a good pool day for you, getting ready for Friday night. Yeah, that's a hint.
Is that what it's going to be? Is that okay? Yeah. Well, you know what? I owe you pizza, so maybe we make it happen. I'll shoot you a text. There you go.
Have a good week, buddy.
All right, man. See you guys later.
See you there. Luke Mullender, color commentator on the Rider broadcast, joining us here on the Western Pizza guest hotline. That is right. If you missed it, Luke and I had a little wager back in the NHL playoffs. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings. All the Greek food you like at Western Pizza. Find out what the pickup special is near you tonight. A little bit more. I want to get to that Trevor Harris clip. We'll take a break. We'll come back. I want to get to that Harris clip where I feel that he was, talking about everyone that's throwing the shade at him. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Prairie Land Rentals text line. A lot of people are going down the same avenue here. And then out on the YouTube, as you're monitoring that, Curtis, are the Saskatchewan Roughriders going to sign, and they have to sign another running back. People are asking if they have to. They play Friday. Thomas the Train is injured. He's not going to play. Kadeem Carey, unfortunately, out for the season. who knows? The running joke, and now a couple of people are piling on. It was, who was it? Kevin from Foam Lake that said, what about maybe a little Andrew Harris coming out of retirement? Wouldn't that be something for one game? How many plays does he have in him? We had him on was it last week? We had him on the coach's show. Coach's show coming up, by the way, just after 4:00. He looks good. You know, he's got that dog in him that he's like, nah, I still got a few. I still got a few plays. That'd be something else. And realistically, Luke thinks Walter's our guy. Walter Fletcher. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of you thought that it was going to be Walter Fletcher instead of Kadeem Carey, but Kadeem Carey has the tie-in, Coach Mace, all that. He was a great fit. Sat out a couple games, sounded like a solid teammate. He was okay. The Frankie Hickson thing, again, I don't know inside baseball here. I'm not, the casual fan in me goes, Frankie Hickson would be somewhat seamless as he would know the playbook. Now, we have no idea on if there's some bad blood. Did Frankie Hickson, when he got released, not put on the practice roster? Did he flip the bird to the city on his way out and be like, I will never see you again? Or is he sitting, staying in shape, thinking, all right, my phone, keep the phone charged at all times. We're looking for a 306 number to come through. And doesn't it have to be like right away? Doesn't it have to be today? Maybe while we're on the air here, chatting. We're going to keep that email open, Curtis, in case we do see a release from Ariel and the Saskatchewan Roughriders on if they're signing, if they're bringing someone in. Now, talking to Luke, if you're listening to that, the Andrew Harris, Trevor Harris, Andrew Harris on my brain now. Seen him in a Rider jersey. Oof. Trevor Harris, though, after the game, talking to Luke, in this clip, he kind of says, hey, I can go deep. I can throw the ball deep. And we saw that in BC Place on Saturday.
What leads to success is everybody playing in unison and buying into the plan. And I think that we're very blessed with an offensive coordinator, Mark Mueller, who puts together a plan for us every week that is different each and every week in how we want to attack defenses. And a lot of times how we attack them is, how they're playing us. And so it kind of frees us up as quarterbacks and in the run game to be able to kind of, maneuver through the game how we see fit. And it takes a lot for a coach to do that. And so we've developed a lot of trust. And so heading into this game, we had too many 2-and-outs early. And, I kind of went into Mace's office and I said, hey, basically the first 3 drives of the game last week, we went 2-and-out. It's essentially a turnover. Right. Because if you go 2-and-out, especially if you're backed up and you punt and they have a 20-yard return, it's about like a turnover. Yeah. It's about like you throw a pick, 25-yard pick. And so those are the things that we can't do to our defense. We've got to make sure we stay on the field, let them have a breather, and be able to finish scoring and be able to get to scoring drives and finish in the red zone. Yeah. Because there's a big difference between, kicking a field goal and giving the ball to 40 versus allowing our kickoff team to kind of maybe pin them a little bit deeper. And so I thought we were able to do that early, but obviously in the second half, after we scored, got it to 33, I wish we could have, pressed on the pedal a little bit more and scored a little bit more, but we came away with a win at BC in a tough environment, and so we're pleased, obviously.
You were dialed, man. 23 for 30, 395, 3 touchdowns. Talk about just sort of what you were seeing. Did they, a lot of the times you come in, were they who you thought they were going to be today?
They're a good defense. They're a good defense, and a lot of times they were just trying to jump our intermediate routes, and I know the word on the street is, take away the short routes against Trevor, and that's fine. We'll throw it over your head if we do that. We have stuff built into our offense where we can do that, and so I'm just thankful that we have such a great plan and a great coordinator that allows us to do that, and receivers that allow us to do that, they make the plays downfield. And so, I just try and deliver the mail the best I can, and our receivers have been phenomenal. And big shout out to our offensive line, obviously today, 0 sacks, over 100 yards rushing. That's not easy to do.
Love Trevor Harris. Obviously. When he throws it like that. Text line. Okay, where do we want to go first? Let's go to the YouTube chat here. Cassandra brings this up. I don't know. It doesn't say where she's from. This is a really good point. Forgot about this. Riders also had Mario Anderson Jr. in camp and released him to sign Carey. I can't remember them releasing him to sign Carey, but I remember him in camp. Young guy. South Carolina Gamecock. Born in 2001. Yeah, so that's a really good little point. Thank you very much for the message, Sandra. Also, we have Trey saying bring back Hickson. That's what I was thinking. And a couple others too. Walter Fletcher. Where are these guys? You tried to look them up today, didn't you? Curtis, you were trying to find out. You were trying to see if we could even get one on the show. Yeah. Did you find out anything? No. Hello. They are functional. We and the one thing I didn't ask Luke, here's another thing. When you're watching that game or listening to that game on Saturday, am I the only one that gets scared? And I get it that's kind of what he's brought in to do. He's a short yardage quarterback. Tommy Stevens, I think you got to get up really early in the morning to try and figure out a way to stop him. I didn't really get it until I saw him at Mosaic Stadium. I saw him in green. How big he is, how hard that would be to stop on a 3rd and inches or a 3rd and 1. Heck, even 3rd and 2. Guy's a mountain. Tall. But I'm watching the back part of the game after listening, and they're using him to run the clock out with AJ. We know Kadeem, everything points to him being out for a while, for this season for sure. Tommy's running the ball. I'm worried. The way the last 2 years and these freak injuries, knock on wood, can we not give the ball to Albert Awachi? I don't even know if I've ever seen Albert Awachi run the ball. He's back there for a reason. He had to have run the ball at some point in his life. Can he protect the ball, run it, dive play, whatever? Don't have to go off tackle. Don't need any lead action. Just run the ball right up the gut. Albert, because I don't want anybody else getting hurt. Am I crazy? But you know what I mean? Let's look up a little bit more on our friend Albert. He's fullback, national, from Toronto. Spent some time with the Argos. That's right. He can run the ball. So I'm just watching it and saying, please, Tommy, just go down. AJ, just go down. We don't need a hero. We just need to run this clock out. But they got to have somebody in Friday. They have to. Ryan Pollock's going to be in after 4 o'clock. We're going to have a great discussion on that. Who does he think they'll bring in? Who would he bring in? The other discussion we're going to have next hour, how would you rank right now? Where are we sitting? July 21st, 2025. How would you rank CFL quarterbacks? 1 through, you don't even have to go to 10. You can go 1 to 6, because then it gets weird at the end. I would go, this is me, personally, just some random pigeon in Regina, Saskatchewan. I'd go VA. I'd go Harris. I'd go Bo Levi Mitchell. And then 4th, speaking of guys that could be injured, Zach Collaros. 5th, I would go Alexander from Montreal. And then probably Rourke. That's just me. I'm not here to fight with anybody. What? 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals text line. They got everything you need. 600 Albert Street. There's another question for you out there. What do you think? How would you rank them right now? Not last year, not a month ago, not even November, coming up in November. Right now, you could rank your quarterbacks. Let's see what SportsCage, the SportsCage listeners have to say. And then also when RP gets here, you know what else we're going to talk about? Hits on quarterbacks. Shouldn't have chuckled there. But Zach Collaros, that hit by Clarence Hicks, clean, but his head hitting the turf. And I don't know what percentage of out there have worn a football helmet or a hockey helmet. Heck, a Skidoo helmet. When your head hits the ground like that, you know exactly what that feels like. That ain't good. And I know there's new technology in helmets these days compared to the 90s, and they threw on that helmet that literally weighed 27 and a half pounds on your head. That hurt. And he's been hit, and he's had head issues, concussion issues. Didn't look too good. Don't want to see it. And then Drew Brown, Deshaun Amos. He doesn't mean to do this, but for starters, everyone's talking about how his helmet wasn't done up. Hey, listen, Fonzie, do your helmet up. You're playing a contact sport, unless he totally forgot. But I don't know if, like the kids say, is he doing that for sty? I'm not going to do up my helmet. Like, look at that. He doesn't mean to lead with his head. There's no way he means to hit him really hard. But if you're watching the stream, and there's a lot of you watching today, Curtis is actually jacked about that. Look at this. Oof. That hurts. Kudos to him. He kind of shakes it off. Obviously, he's concussed. He goes off. But quarterbacks taking hits, and we've seen it here. We don't need to, we've seen it enough in our time. What do we got here? Oh, minute 53. Don't even have enough time. Do we have enough time to run the Scheffler? Let's do it quick. Scotty Scheffler after winning the Open. Remember last week when he kind of got weird on us? Here's him after winning the jug yesterday.
I've said it for a long time. Golf is not how I identify myself. I don't identify myself by winning tournaments, chasing trophies, being famous or whatever it is. Like when I go home, if I go to there's two Chipotles that I eat at home. There's one, well, actually not really one anymore. There's one right where I grew up. It's kind of near SMU's campus. If I was to go to that Chipotle and try to eat nowadays, it would be very difficult for me. There's another one in a different part of town that I'm not going to tell you where it is. But if I go there, nobody recognizes me ever. And so famous is just one of those things. It's like in some circles, like right now I'm the best player in the world. This week I was the best player in the world. I'm sitting here with the trophy. We're going to start all over in Memphis, back to even par. The show goes on. And it's hard to describe what it feels like because, I don't feel any different because I've won a golf tournament. This is not the be-all, end-all for me, but I'm extremely grateful for it. I mean, I have, kid you not, I have worked since I was 2 or 3 years old to have a chance to play professional golf for a living. And now I've been able to win tournaments that I just dreamed of playing in, and it's an amazing feeling, and I'm so grateful to be able to live out my dreams. But like I said, my faith in my family is what's most important to me, and I try to live as normal a life as possible because I feel like a normal guy. I have the same friends I had growing up. I don't think that I'm anything special just because some weeks I'm better at shooting a lower score than other guys are.
Guy baffles me, but is he good at golf? No trouble, up and down. We'll talk to RP about that too in hour 2. Also, taco time, better than Chipotle. Hot take right there, any day of the week. Sports Cage, hour 2 coming up. Coach's show. We're going to have Philip Daniel on. RP's with me. It's the Sports Cage. Thanks to everyone who's been watching the stream. Curtis loves it. SportsCage.com. And we are on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Quick one today. We got Riders defensive line coach Philip Daniel coming up. in hour 2. If you got any questions, 936-6262. Riders are home to Edmonton, of course, on Friday, 7 p.m. Western Canadian Baseball League. Regina's at Moose Jaw. Don't go off the Western Canadian Baseball League website because that thing's wrong. Saskatoon playing 2 in Weyburn. Swifts and Medicine Hat. If you missed it, the East won the All-Star game this weekend. And the Toronto Blue Jays. They took 3 from San Fran. Now get set for an important series against the Yankees. It starts tonight. The Jays are 3 games up in the East. That is your sports ticker in hour 1 for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, keeping you in hot and soft water. Hour 2 will start with Rider Coach's Show. It is a Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage on Mondays, like you said, for Kellen Solar. Anything you need solar, whether it's for the house, the farm, the ranch, they can get you hooked up. They're local. They've been doing it a long time. Big livestock operation help as well. Curtis is with me in the pocket, and now Ryan Pollock, RP, is joining us as we await Philip Daniels and the Coach's Show. A lot to unpack. Midsummer, right? It's the slow time for sports, but there's a lot to talk about. We got the Riders winning, obviously. Now who do we got to bring in on running back? Hits to the quarterbacks. We got a lot to talk about. First off, running back. You'd never want to see it. Carey, gross. I don't never want to see it again. What would you do? Let's say they said, RP, it's your operation. It's your show here. I know there's probably a lot of guys out there that we don't know about. Frankie Hickson, Walter Fletcher, or as one of our listeners texted in, Mario Anderson, who was in camp.
Yeah, so just to your point, take a half step back, terrible looking play, unfortunate, hoping for the best for him in his recovery, whatever that may be. It was funny because a couple plays prior with him just being out there, I really noticed them. He had a big chip block, hammered Betts coming off the end, and then he gets the ball a play or two later and runs hard, and then that unfortunately happens a little bit later in the game. But my thoughts from the outside is all good options. If I were a betting man, I'm guessing they're bringing in some guys that potentially are on the nag list. I wouldn't be shocked to see them get back to practice and have a couple of guys brought in already. They usually have some guys somewhat waiting in the wings. Maybe some guys that are sitting on the nag list that are waiting a time, whether a PR spot opens, whether the timing's just right that they need a guy at a certain position. But in saying that, they may reach out to a veteran guy as well. Sometimes the challenge is, you have AJ, and then you go and get a veteran guy like Carey, and now this happens. You have Thomas already on the injured list. How much opportunity is there to go out there in the world of salary caps and go and get a veteran guy? Those guys that are on the street may not have much of a negotiation leverage in reality, but they're also guys that may not be willing to come in for league minimum on a tryout basis. So there's lots of factors that go into it. The good news is the team still has a number one running back, and they're not in an emergency situation where they feel like they need to airlift in the most veteran guy possible to come in and play this week.
They're going to need someone though Friday.
Yep, 100% they will. They'll need a backup guy. Obviously with Kadeem and Thomas on the shelf, they don't have that in-house guy right now. That's why my guess from the outside is we'll see a couple guys signed to the roster in the coming days.
Love our listeners and the text messages, but the joke, and Kevin and Foam Lake started it, and people are piling on, and I love it. YouTube and the regular text line. How many plays do you think Andrew Harris has left in him?
That's a great option. No one knows the playbook better than he does. He'll be able to call his own plays maybe a little bit. Dive left, dive right, just keep it between the tackles.
But even a guy to block, to throw some of those blocks, right?
Yeah.
Still in great shape, not far removed.
That's fantastic, actually.
Wouldn't that be something? Let's go to the quarterback situation. More specifically, Nathan Rourke. And we're getting a lot of text messages on this too, because I asked people, how would you rank CFL quarterbacks right now? Like where we are July 21st, 2025. How would you rank? And I went 6 deep because after 6, it's like, meh.
Yeah.
How would you rank them?
Yeah, and I don't know how right off the top to rank them. I think they're in bunches. I think Vernon Adams, I think Trevor Harris has put him right in the mix at the top. The way he's played this year for the large majority of the season. Bo's been good. Those are probably off the top unless I'm missing someone.
Yeah, that's what I got. 1, 2, 3.
I've been a really big fan of Davis Alexander, and in my mind, until he gets hurt this week, I had the Montreal Alouettes as the best team in the CFL, because until he loses a game, someone has to prove they can go out and beat him. But now to put him on the 6-game injured list, yeah, it probably puts some question. I get that this question's a little bit centered around Nathan York, and I think as fans across the league, we're all hoping that Nathan can get back to that form that he had in 2022 or 21, whatever the season was, when he was so dominant. But he shows it, and then it kind of reverts back a little bit at times, and that's kind of how I felt he was Friday, that he had some really good flashes, and then he had some opportunities that maybe he just didn't look as sharp on.
I felt the times he looked the best on Saturday, which could count on one hand, was when it was a broken play almost, and he was doing the flag football, touch football thing in the backyard, and then finding a guy. When he had a nice clean pocket, when he had some time. Now, you're not going to get a lot of time. It's professional football. He was either throwing it high, missing it, making the wrong read, or at one time he threw there was triple coverage almost on a guy. And 2021's a long time ago.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I actually talked with Doubles a little bit earlier today, and excited to kind of get his views on it, because I feel the same way, Barney, that his best plays of the night on Saturday were those broken down plays. The touchdown, the long scramble, and then a big throw and a touchdown. That's a heck of a play. Eluding pressure, rolling out, finding a guy downfield. But then he had an opportunity to move the chains with some wide open guys and overthrew them, or threw it in behind, threw into coverage. He gets away with a pick 6 in the third quarter
that
there.
Throw.
Yeah, like nowhere close. It's Tavon does a great job of jumping it and making the play, and it comes back due to an offside on the D line. But it's the offside had nothing to do with how that play was gonna go there. So he kind of escapes one.
It's almost like Tavon does something that we don't see there, that he kind of baits, and then because he's done it a couple times now, and I'm sure he does it more in practice, and that where he just kind of comes shot out of a cannon.
Boy, and he's so fast. He closes so fast. So if that's there and he jumps that route right, it's a home run every time.
Douglas Park sprints.
That's
what it gets you right there. No, I had, and I did it jokingly, and we can get to more of the texts in a bit here, but I had VA right now.
Yep.
VA, Harris, Bo, Caleros.
Yep.
Alexander, Rourke.
Yep. Yeah, I'd buy into that wholeheartedly there, and and once that second level starts to come, Zach is Zach for sure, and but we. That staying healthy and being on the field and being able to do it week in and week out is what starts to separate these guys. And, that's what's going to be important. We talked about Davis, and now him going to the 6 game is going to be a big shot for Montreal.
Yeah. We have very, very smart listeners, very intelligent female listeners, because we had Sandra earlier bring up the point from Saskatoon, by the way. What's up? I don't know if she's east side or west side, though. Mario Anderson Jr., that we released him in camp. We can bring him. And then Heather, doesn't say where Heather's from. She brings up Morgan Runge, who he's a Canadian. He's a fullback-ish. So I don't know where he would fit in. But we will, welcome any of your comments or ideas out there. And you kind of echo what Luke said, because you worked for people don't know Ryan worked for the team for how many years was it?
10
years. So you kind of know a little bit, and you mentioned how there are the guys on the neg list, and those could be the first looks, and then it's a numbers thing, money-wise, and I'm kind of forgetting, I'll throw myself under the bus, when is Thomas the Train back?
Yeah,
like we don't know how long. We still got to keep spot for that.
No, exactly. And with that being an unknown, it's a good point that you bring in another veteran guy, and if and when Thomas comes back, now you're back to this kind of uncomfortable situation potentially. So there's lots of things in play. The fans were allegedly screaming for these nag lists to be publicized. Well, if you're curious of maybe some names, then flip open the website and see if there's any running backs on there, and maybe there's someone that we may hear about in the next 24 or 48 hours.
All right, we got him standing by. It's time for the weekly Rough Rider Coaches Show.
It's time for the SportsCage Riders Coaches Show for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Get your 50-50 tickets now for all Rider home and away games. Riders5050.ca and Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Hey, Coach. How's it going? Hey, I love a man that wears pink. I wear pink all the time, too. That a boy. Solid choice of tarp today. We're back. The guys aren't on the field today. Obviously, you guys are watching tape. You guys are having your coaches' meetings. You probably watched a lot of tape. Going back to the game, how do you assess things now that you've watched a few things? The one thing we were talking about last week and coaches brought up a lot was we got out-physicaled. Where did you find that on Saturday?
We were a lot better. We went full pads last week, so that helped a lot, getting us back to that mentality of going out there and dominating. We still got a long ways to go. We still got a lot of room to improve. But for the most part, I thought our guys came with some physicality. After the Calgary game, we felt like we was missing that. So we had to get back to ground zero, and get that back. And the full pass session helped us a lot.
Coach, you've got a veteran group there up front overall, some guys that have played in some different spots across the CFL, now coming together here in Saskatchewan. How much for you is it, just getting these guys on the same page and making sure that they're working together versus maybe giving them the intricacies that a younger group may have to get from that coaching standpoint?
Yeah, it's all about chemistry. The only guy, with Rose coming in, Mike Rose, he wasn't with us last year, so that chemistry, we got to get that together, get a better feel for each other. Usually in the second year in the system helps guys to be better, and everybody's pretty much is a second-year guy, except for Shane and Rose. So it's going to take us some time. I knew it's going to take some time, but it looked like right now they're starting to gel a little bit better, and hopefully that's the sign of good things to come. I feel like, those guys are going out there and they're playing hard, but we don't always do the right things, and it was evident in that Calgary game where they got us right there. And that's probably one of the worst games we played as a defensive line that since I've been here. And we just got to get back to what we know and get those guys, get the chemistry and get those guys to gel in a little bit better with the other guys, and we should be fine.
How much coaching can you do during the game? We get the halftime during the game. Is that difficult? Do you?
Well, I tell the guys, practice is my time. The game is your time. The only thing we can do is make corrections on the sideline and hope they get it, hope that they fix it, get on the field and perform. You don't like to give them too much, get in their heads too much during the game, but at the same time, it's like little things, saying the little nuances of the game that we go on the sidelines, we try to point out. And, my thing is I'm a big guy that I don't like repetitive mistakes, I want you to, you're going to make mistakes. We ain't going to be perfect. We're going to chase perfection on, we ain't going to catch it, but at the same time, I want you to keep chasing it. And my thing is, we try not to make those mistakes over and over again. And on the sideline, I'm just trying to piece it together, piece it together, see who did what, who made a mistake here, get the guys to understand what I'm saying and those kind of things, because if you don't nip that in the bud early, it's going to continue down the whole game and it's not going to be good for us. So that's the only thing I do on game day. Like I said, the game day is their time. I try not to panic and let the guys see that in my face so they can go out there and perform. Because when you panic as a coach, they panic. So, let me do all the panicking in practice. And then on game day, I try to let you guys handle it and go get it.
I'm stealing that for my flag football team. We're not going to catch it, but we're going to chase perfection. I love it. What a line that is. What has Mike Rose brought to this group?
He's brought a lot, man. Leadership. He's a guy that's smart, real smart. He's a guy that's on the sideline. You know, I can walk over there and he's already talking to the guys and get them ready to go. You know what I'm saying? He brings pass rush ability. He's bringing a little bit of quickness. You know what I'm saying? Just that veteran leadership that we needed, you know what I'm saying? You know, we got Micah. Micah's a good veteran leader, but Rose brought an extra little piece of that. And I think that over time, you know what I'm saying, the guys starting to respect him a lot more and they're starting to listen to him a lot more. And it makes my job a lot easier when you got a guy like him that can coach guys up on the sideline and get them in the right place.
I was looking at the stats this afternoon before coming over here, and I believe you guys sit currently third in quarterback sacks acquired by the D line, and that, but really spread out amongst the group, and even Thurman there coming down from the linebacker spot as well. Is that a strength of this team right now, that we can get pressure from a lot of different areas and get to that quarterback with a lot of different guys?
Yes, that's a good strength to have, you know what I'm saying? Now, the thing is, when you look at football in general, stopping the run and getting more opportunities to rush the pass is the key. You know, we got to stop the run and we got to run the football on offense. That's the key to winning, really. If we stop the run, on early down, that first down, we get an opportunity on second down to go pin our ears back and go get it. We hadn't been real strong in the run game this year like we were the year before. And so that's the difference in the sacks. I don't like being number 2 at anything, you know what I'm saying? No less number 3. I want our guys to understand that let's stop this run, let's get more opportunities to rush the passer, and let's get in the top of those categories, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a big believer in the run game, so we pride ourselves on stopping the run. If we do that, then the psych totals will go up. If we continue to let guys run for 130 yards on those, and I'm a kind of guy that I hate when people run for 30 yards, no less 130. And so my thing is we got to get that done, and that's the key to going to the big dance and winning it, you know what I'm saying? Last year, if you remember that Winnipeg game, we couldn't stop the run and guys wasn't doing their jobs and one fill in their gaps and one sit in their fits. And so that kind of hurt us in that game. So I stress that a lot. I'm a big believer in stopping the run, and as long as our offense keep doing what they're doing, we're going to win a bunch of games.
You guys did a great job, like we talked about enough, but Nathan Rourke, I don't know if it was your game plan. He seemed off all game. That's something that obviously kudos to you guys for making it difficult for him.
You know, Corey do a good job of calling the game, and he made it uncomfortable. We mixed some things up, gave him some different looks, and our DBs played pretty good back there and locking the guys down. It's just being together, both units playing together. I tell guys all the time that, like, pass rush and coverage go hand in hand. Sometimes we're going to be good, and sometimes they're going to be good, and sometimes we're going to be good together. And that was a game that we were good together. And I just think that we got to continue that and continue to build that chemistry right there with that group and everybody on the defense. And Corey did a good job of calling the game and calling a good game. That was the outcome.
Dave's brought it up a few times how Coach Mace has gone over and joined your group at practice, and he's been there. Does he still have a couple plays in him? Is that what he wants? Could you put him in?
Listen, Corey started out as a D-line coach, and he's a D coordinator and a D-line coach in Toronto. As hard as it is for him, he cannot let it go. You know what I'm saying? He gonna let me do my thing, though. He lets me do our thing, but he always tell me, Phil, let me come over and get those D ends today. Let me come over and get those D tackles today. And I'll be like, Corey, you got so much other things to worry about. You the head coach. You need to be roam the field and just do that, and we'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I let him come over there sometime, take over. Give me a little rest. You know what I'm saying? And you do a good job, man. We both do a good job. And I told the guys, man, y'all cannot go wrong, man. Y'all got a head coach that's a defensive coordinator that used to be a D-line coach. And you got me, who played 15 years at D-line and won a Super Bowl as a D-line coach. So you guys y'all can't complain about nothing. If y'all don't get it right, it's on you guys and not on us, because we are good coaches.
I want to get into some of your old days in a bit here, and I remember you coaching because I'm a Patriots fan, so we'll leave that there. But how difficult is it? Because RP and I were talking about just before he came on here, we're going to get into it in a bit here. We're seeing some big hits on quarterbacks, and that's always going to happen in football. How do you coach guys that are absolute dogs, and they've been doing it, and their job is to go and hit somebody. How do you coach them to gear down when you get to the quarterback? That's got to be so difficult.
It's tough, it's tough. You got guys coming full speed. Some guys weighing 280, 300 pounds, and they just, they just get close to the quarterback, can't stop, I really do think the leagues protect the quarterbacks a little bit too much. Like, for instance, a hand to the helmet. That's why we wear the helmet, to protect ourselves. A hand to the helmet is not going to hurt a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things. So I feel like, the game is getting tougher for us to tackle and to go after the quarterback the way we want to. But you have to just teach guys, like, when they get close, just swipe the feet if you're on the ground, you know what I'm saying? Those little things like that, or just, just waist high, those kind of things. So, but it's tough, man. I remember a penalty early in the season when Micah and Rose hit the quarterback, and I didn't think it was a penalty. I thought that was a good hit. I just thought they hit each other harder than they hit the quarterback. But he pointed up at the referee, made a big deal out of it, and that's how he got the call. So I just think they let the quarterbacks decide the call by just pointing up, complaining, and those kind of things. You got eyes for yourself. Just see it for yourself, and just keep that flag in your pocket. If it ain't crazy, you know what I'm saying? If we ain't going after his head, then keep that flag in your pocket.
Love your honesty. What a great answer there.
Great point. And then building off that, coach, as well. So then you which we're not doing, but you're asking a guy to go in and be cautious and slow down, and then you come up against a quarterback potentially this week like a Trey Ford, could be really elusive, and if you don't run all the way through him, he's a guy that can get out of the pocket and start to make plays. So how do you prepare for a guy like that, and maybe speak to how important it is for that front to be able to hold their lanes and do their jobs and not allow him to get back there and start moving around?
Yeah, we got to be balanced up front. You know what I'm saying? When we rush, we got to be balanced. Everybody got to be where they need to be. And my thing is, he's the kind of guy that, you make people miss. And, my thing is, don't let him get on the edges. We'll be fine. But I think our guys know what we're dealing with this week. And I hope that they come prepared to practice this week and let's prepare to go get him. You know what I'm saying? We can't hesitate. We can't you can't hold back, on what we do. But at the same time, we can play smart and balance rush that and be where we should be when we should be there. And that's the key to stopping quarterback like this. Just balance pass rush, be smart. And my thing is, you get a lot of people say, hey, keep your eyes on the quarterback, rush with your eyes on the quarterback. No, rush and be smart and be where you should be.
Philip Daniels joining us here on the Coaches Show this week. Now, let's go into your career. Seattle, Chicago, Washington. What's the quarterback side? Who is the quarterback that you sacked back in your day that you still hang your hat on? That was the big one. That was a doozy.
Man, I sacked all of them. I sacked a lot of them. Mike Vick, he was so elusive, and he's one of those quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? Those guys that can run around, scramble, and get out the pocket, you know what I'm saying? But I think I broke him in as a rookie. He came in, we played him, and he ran a boot to my side, and, he fast. So I had to take a good angle, perfect angle. I got to him, put my arm around his neck, and kind of grabbed his left hand because he's left-handed. He fumbled it, or like I ran it 90 yards for a touchdown. So him, Brett Favre, so good, Dan Marino, those guys. I mean, I go way back. I sacked a lot of quarterbacks, Tom Brady. So, I tell my guys, you name a quarterback, I probably sacked him. The only ones I didn't sack was the ones on my team. So, but I only had I had 60 some sacks, but I spread those things around. So yeah. It was good.
That's awesome. That's funny. Hey, then transitioning into coaching as well, and a little bit of a selfish question for me. I like to always ask coaches about, I think you can teach players when you're a coach, but I think when you work with elite people, they can also teach you. So a guy that really stood out for me, you working with Fletcher Cox with the Eagles and that. Your time down there, do you work with these guys and maybe just when you're working with them, a little eye-opener and going, man, this guy is like next level, and you can take something from him to move on to the next guy that you're working with?
I think being a former player for me, I never got to the point where I was like, this guy's next level. Cause I always felt like we all, if you're a good player in that league, you're gonna be a solid player and be a good player. Fletch was just different because he was heavy. He was a heavy guy, a guy that when he put his hands on you, he destroy you. And guys like him, you just give them direction. You don't have to really teach them too much, coach them too much. Just give them the playbook in the meeting room and then get them on the field and to give them some direction on what to do. And they got it, you know what I'm saying? It was a pleasure working with those guys, guys like him and all the other guys that I've worked with in the past, just to see those guys. Even I tell guys all the time, even until your last day playing football, you should be learning something. You should be getting better. And so just to see them keep learning and keep growing, and even if they're a 13-year guy or whatever they may be, I ended up being a 15-year guy. And I always felt like, listen, once I stop wanting to learn, I'm done. I might as well retire. And that's the same thing in the coaching field. If you get to the point where you don't want to learn anymore, it's time. It's over. You just let it go. So I never had guys like that. Guys were willing to learn. Fletch was one of those solid guys that was willing to learn. Brandon Graham. I can go on and on.
Yeah.
I had a old school guy who I played with, Clyde Simmons. Gave me some of the best advice I ever got in my life. I remember being mad on the field and upset about something, and he came to me and said, "Young buck, carry this with you the rest of your life. Never let anything or anybody ever steal your joy." And that's what I give to the players. And I tell them, don't get upset, man. We all in this together. We're all in this together. We're a team. We're going to work through it. And it's good to see those guys because they can also help those young guys understand that. And just like I got it from an older guy, they get it from me and some of the older guys here too, the young guys. So it's good to have guys like that on the team. It's good to be able to coach guys like that and that you're still teaching them something, even though they played 13, 14 years.
Where do you keep your Super Bowl ring, and when's the last time you wore it?
I got my Super Bowl ring up here with me. My wife keeps it. She makes sure that nobody messes with that thing, you know what I'm saying? So keep people telling me to put it in a safety deposit box and all this stuff. I said, nah, we good. We're going to be okay. We got it. It ain't getting too far. I believe if the building was burning down, my wife would run in there and get it. You know what I'm saying?
That a girl.
She's not how long I waited to get a ring. As a player, I never went to a Super Bowl. I never got a chance. I went to the playoffs, but I never got to the Super Bowl. So as a coach, and I told myself that, okay, I never got there as a player, but I want all my guys to experience that. Mm-hmm. So when I started coaching, that was my goal. I want everybody to experience a chance to have a championship and then see that everything that goes along with that. On that game day, winning that thing, seeing the people out there hugging, crying, all that stuff. I want all my guys to see that, and that's one of the reasons I coach.
Okay, your son though has a Grey Cup ring. Playing in Toronto last year. Does he ever rub that in to Dad a little bit? Be like, yeah, you got your Super Bowl ring, but I got the Grey Cup ring.
Yeah, I tell him all the time that should be our ring. You know what I'm saying? we picked the wrong game to play our worst game. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was there for him. I went to BC to that game, and I always been there for him. And of course, I was a motivational speaker one year, and they won a few years ago, and they played here. So I was on the sideline for that one. And my thing is, my kids do well. I'm all in. I help them any way I can, and I'm gonna be happy for them. And our goal last year was to play each other in the Grey Cup. We fell short. They did good. I hated that because I wanted to play him. I wanted to play against him. Yeah. And we matched up really well with them. During the season, we matched up really well with them. And I thought if we got to the Grey Cup, it'd be a great story, father and son playing against each other, but it just didn't happen. So I told him just keep his head up this year because they're struggling a little bit right now. Yeah. Just keep your head up, keep fighting, and hope y'all get Kelly back and things will turn around for him. Yeah.
Coach, thanks so much for taking some time today here on this Monday. Awesome to chat with you. Some good quotes there. Continued success.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
You bet. Thanks, Coach.
That is our defensive line coach for our Saskatchewan Roughriders. You look him up online, Philip Daniels. The guys he rattled off that he sacked. Come on.
That was fantastic. Like top to bottom, great interview, great guy.
Quotes.
Yeah.
Lots. I'd run through a wall for that guy.
Yeah, for sure. You can see why guys want to play. So that's awesome.
Absolutely love it. Our coaches show is always brought to you by Steelcraft Doors in Regina, made in Western Canada, for Western Canada and the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation 50/50, where if you buy before Thursday this week, you're entered into the early bird prize, which is you would like this we would like this for the wives. Kananaskis Nordic Spa includes 2 nights at the Kananaskis Hotel. We're taking the sticks.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. 1 day hydrotherapy, or you can take $2,700 cash. You find it at riders5050.ca. Time for a break. We're going to come back with our Clutch Performer. We're staying local on that, too. Some fun stuff. It is the SportsCage streaming at sportscage.com. Clutch Performer, we could go down anything rider-wise, but we got I love when people send them in. 936-6262. How about the Odessa Steelers U11 AA ball team? They won provincials this weekend.
Nice.
There's nothing winning provincials in anything. Never going to forget that. 3-2 win in the final against Tisdale. A tying run on third. Second baseman made a ridiculous catch to end the game. So thank you for sending that in, and congratulations to the Odessa Steelers U11 AA ball team. They're probably still celebrating. And the parents, anyway.
Yeah, the kids are celebrating
Out in
too.
Odessa. Clutch Performer for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Could kind of give one to this guy. Did you hear this story? I'll pull it up here. In Saskatoon, guy by the name of Brad Adams. You thought it was Brian Adams. Guy by the name of Brad Adams playing the Greenbrier track, 12-hole loop. Okay? So he's out there playing. Brad gets a hole-in-one.
Mm-hmm.
Few holes later, Brad gets another hole-in-one. Same round of golf on a 12-hole loop. They say odds 1 in 67 million.
Oh, wow.
Kind of reminds me of Gord Hamilton playing at the Royal this year when he got his.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing that day. It was a Saturday. You could hear the hooting and hollering down. And then he said he almost did it again on 16.
Wow.
Imagine that.
I'm happy when I can hit par 3s and I grab putter next. I'm just happy with that.
Do you have one? Hole-in-one?
Nope.
I don't.
No.
Chase is real. Sean Steffen, if you follow him on social media, owner of Rusty Shovel Lands, he posts pictures of all of his close. He gets close a lot.
Really, eh?
But yeah, I been close this year twice. How bad the game is. But Brad Adams, 2 aces in the same round on a 12-hole loop.
That's Greenbrier?
Greenbrier.
Yeah.
Brad Vinnick. Shout out, Saskatoon. Used to be at Holiday Park. Caddied for him. Holiday Park once. Yeah, so that's... How about Luke Cote? Speaking of young Regina winning the Saskatchewan Am last week. And so he's got his name on the provincial amateur trophy now and the provincial junior.
Junior, yeah.
It's a big deal. When I interviewed him on Friday, I said, do you understand like how big this is? He's like, kind of, yeah, there's some names on that trophy.
Yeah, I think it's... I can't speak for the kid. I think it's going to hit him a little bit more. He's young and... lots of aspirations that maybe he feels like this is just a step in some ways for him. But yeah, it's a really big deal. We were really happy for him at the club. I had a chance to see him Friday as well when he came back. Got back from Humboldt. He came over by the club and I was still over there. So really, really excited for him. Big deal for our club to have the provincial amateur champion being from the Royal Regina. So I'm soft this way too. Like I just root for these people that are just great people. And Luke is such a good young person that you just love to see him have this success. He works so hard. He's great to the young other young juniors that are around the club. He's great to all our other members. Jumps out and plays with anyone. So to see him go out there and get rewarded at a tournament like this, it really it really hits you. It
was great. Speaking of the Royal Regina, we had Bruce Boudreau on Friday as well. Arash is on tomorrow. We have the Royal Dinner coming up August 28th.
Yep, Thursday, August 28th.
So Thursday right into the long weekend. Explain to people, because there's a table left or a few spots left. What is it? What do you get? All that.
Yeah, it's kind of your classic sportsman's dinner, where we'll get a nice little plated prime rib dinner and little champagne reception when you come through the door, and some appetizers. And
can I put some orange juice in that for a mimosa?
Yeah, if you can do whatever you want. Once it's in your hands, it's yours. The whole point from us, from a club perspective, is the room is small intentionally. There'll be 110 to 120 people in the room, so it's an intimate setting, and you get to get in this room and be around Arash and Bruce and hear these stories, and be able to interact with them and walk up and talk to them at some point in the night, and kind of experience that club life and everything that we have to offer at the Royal Regina. So we've really liked it. This is the second time we've done it. The first one was a huge hit, as we did a 10-year anniversary of the 2013 Grey Cup. So I'm looking forward to this one. Thursday, August 28th. Not an accident that it was Thursday leading right into the long weekend. Figured it's a great way to tee up the Labor Day weekend and have a nice little sports dinner and enjoy ourselves socially and lead right into the last long weekend of summer.
Why wouldn't a guy have a champagne and prime rib going into the long weekend?
Exactly. Get primed.
How do people, if people are out there listening, you have to buy a table, or do you buy?
Yeah, it's tables only as of right now. So we have 2 tables left, and it's tables only. And I'm hoping that we can move these last 2 tables in the next little short while here. But response has been real positive, and I'm really looking forward to it. I know Arash quite well. I've only had minor interactions with Bruce in setting this up, but I'm really looking forward to it. We've had a few calls, starting to tee it up and get some run a show going and all that. But I keep telling Arash to stop. Like, I want to experience some of this stuff firsthand as he starts telling these stories, and so I'm really looking forward to it. And it'll be a great day and great evening with them.
Yeah, just gonna be awesome.
What's too bad is I hear Bruce he likes to play golf, but they just won't have enough time while he's here. But back home, I guess he plays golf frequently, 3-4 times a week. So
that's going to be great. It's going to be great. Actually, my wife listened to the interviews last week, and she gets a kick out of Arash, and she's like, "That's the guy that's talking at the," and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, it's going to be good. The slap shot story of it, using the apartment. That was so great. We have a ton of text to get to. You're always welcome to call. We got a few minutes of that. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back. We'll touch on the running back situation, hits on the quarterbacks. Some people are putting their ranking of quarterbacks right now in the CFL as well. Thank you so much for chiming in on the Prairieland Rentals text line. It is a Sports Cage on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Okay, where do we want to go here first on the Prairieland Rentals text line, 600 Albert Street, where you get to deal with the owner. This is funny. Bob in Regina. I thought about this on Saturday. I might have brought it up to somebody, and they called me a wacko. He says, move Dre McCray to backup running back, bring in another backup returner if Mario isn't ready. You got other guys that can return the football. I looked up Dre McCray. I don't know, especially at the professional level, he hasn't played any running back. But I thought of that too, Bob, from Regina.
Yeah, so I think where people get maybe off guard a little bit is they're not bringing in Dre McCray to run the ball. They need someone to come in and block. And that's the challenge. There's been guys, lots of guys come through training camp and through a season that can be handed the ball and potentially run.
Good point.
The big challenge is when AJ's off, who can go in there and help us protect, and not only just to give AJ a break, but that person's got to go in there and get that job done as well. So, again, I love the speculation. I'm a little bit wait and see mode. My full expectation is that tomorrow when they hit the field again, there will be a coinciding announcement that they've brought in someone, whether that's off the nag list or someone that's been through camp once already.
Kelly in Calgary says, pretty sure it'll be Harris. Otherwise, an announcement would have come out by now.
I think we're free to make that assumption at this point.
Should we break the news?
They'll come out if they have brought in someone. It'll come out at or before practice, because that's when they would essentially have to declare them.
We've had some people, no names, and let us know where you're from and your name on the text line. We love that. But also coming, Justin Manick and Corey also said Mario Anderson, who we mentioned was in camp, let go. And then the Derek in the YouTube chat, I love it, stirring the pot. Seems like Mario Anderson got on a plane to Regina today. So I don't know if he works for the Federal Aviation and he's got, or he knows someone at WestJet.
There's, and very
Air
well.
Canada.
So sometimes those guys are great to bring back because they're familiar with the, familiar with the concepts and familiar with that playbook. They got introduced to it in training camp, but he may be in the mix there. But sometimes guys also get released in training camp because they just aren't there at the level. So whether that means that he just was a part of a number, so Mario maybe just gets pushed out because there's not a spot for him. But also maybe not. Maybe J.O.'s sitting in his office going, I got to go and find a guy or two that can potentially be better than that level. So we'll see. I'm confident tomorrow or the next day it'll come out.
Randy from his lawn chair at Rowan's Ravine. Send in a picture, Randy. Make us jealous. His QB ratings, he would have VA, Harris, Bo Levi Mitchell, Rourke, Alexander, Caleros, Brown. So very much the same, but then he's moving Rourke up. See, I have Rourke below Alexander and Caleros right now, and even if Caleros is injured. We had somebody else mention that they don't think that Fajardo has played or started a game in Regina since he left.
Yeah, I think he was hurt when he came through with Montreal previously.
Can see it.
Hamstring, I think, if I remember correctly back then. But could be.
All right, keep them coming. 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals text line. We're coming back with a ticker. It is the Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com. No news on who the Riders are bringing in at running back yet. A lot of speculation out there. The Riders are home to Edmonton on Friday at 7 p.m. Darian Durant's coming up after 5 o'clock. We'll get his take on things. Western Canadian Baseball League tonight. Regina's in Moose Jaw. Saskatoon playing 2 in Weyburn. Swifts in Medicine Hat. Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays rolled over San Fran. Now they get set for an important series against the Yankees. It starts tonight. The Jays are 3 games up in the East. Your ticker in hour 2 is for Extreme Hockey and Sport in Regina, the local hockey store, where right now Bauer Select helmets are 25% off. So if you got someone looking for a lid for next hockey season or ringette season or skating season, right now at Extreme Hockey and Sport, 25% off, the local sporting goods store in Regina. Let's get to Darian in hour 3. It is the Sports Cage on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. One more hour of the show, whether you're driving home, working out on the farm at the lake. Some people are sitting on a chair listening to us at the lake. Thank you very much on the streams or on the radio or through YouTube. A lot of great comments coming in. Ryan Pollock's with me for the next hour. We got Darian Durant standing by. And keep the text coming. And people are, let's not be sticklers right now in the whole quarterback ranking thing. I know Alexander's probably hurt for Montreal, but let's say he isn't. Where would you rank him right now? And then Bob from Regina just messaged in as well as I'm going to the top here and seeing this. Forget Caleros for your quarterback list. He just exceeded his headshot quota. We'll see if that, but Caleros, I think still right now, personally, I'd have him as the 4th best quarterback in the CFL. That's just me. I'd go VA, I'd go Harris, I'd go Bo Levi Mitchell, Caleros, Alexander, and then Rourke. And you were kind of the same. Similar.
Yes. Yeah, I'm fully bought in. You can shuffle the top 3 deck any way you like and the next 3 deck any way you like. To me, those 3 are leading the pack, and then the guys in behind them can kind of slot in however you kind of personally feel. But I think VA, Bo, and Trevor have asserted themselves as the top 3 guys right now throughout this season.
And Bo passes Tracy Ham yesterday into 10th on the, I think it's 10th on the list. Tracy Ham was my probably my favorite CFL quarterback of
in the all-time
all
passing
time.
list.
And he
Yep.
just abused us a lot of, which is weird. I don't know why I really liked him, but my first football jersey was number 8 because of Tracy Ham. Hey, for the next hour or two, we're going to play SaskTel Pick the Score. You want a chance to go to the game on Friday when the Elks roll into town? Right now, 936-6262 for the next hour. Curtis will award someone 2 tickets, and then you're in also. If you're the closest scorer after we get picked, you get a chance to win a $200 SaskTel gift card. It's all brought to you by SaskTel, big supporters of the Riders and our Rider broadcast. 7 p.m. Friday, Elks in town. Let's get it going with Darian.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell's Safety Consulting. At Campbell's Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Doubles, nice to see you on this Monday. Let's start there with you. How would you rank? I only went to 6. You can go. How would you rank the quarterbacks in the CFL as we stand on July 21st?
Wow. First, I would have to start with VA. I think I made that clear that I think he's the best guy going right now. He has the most momentum, and you put the coaches with him and that he has. I mean, that gives him that extra boost. So I'll go with VA at 1. I'll go with Trevor at 2. Bo Levi at 3. And then I would go Nathan Rourke at 4, followed by Davis Alexander, and then I would put Zach Collaros at 6.
What would make you put Rourke at 4?
Just potential, I think. I think he's shown flashes. If you even go back to a couple years ago, the way he played, and I think he's shown flashes this year of being a top-tier quarterback. He's a little rusty at times and makes the easy play look so hard, but I still think the potential's there. And I think that's part of when you're judging these guys, you have to go off of somewhat of potential as well. So I definitely think that potential alone puts him at 4.
When you watch that game or the highlights or the tape from Saturday, did he looked uncomfortable? Philip Daniels was on. He thought his crew did a good job of keeping him uncomfortable, and Coach Mace made the right calls there. But from a quarterback and your quarterback eyes, what did you see from Nathan Rourke when he did look off and he missed guys high and he threw into coverage? What did you see there?
It just looked like confusion. I think Coach Mace did a great job of mixing up looks, allowing the DBs to kind of disguise coverage, pre-snap, and then rotating into a different coverage post-snap, and it confused Nathan a lot. So I would just limit that to confusion. I think the Riders threw some looks at him that he wasn't expecting, and that's just a part of being a good quarterback. You have to expect the unexpected, and I just don't think he was ready for that.
So throw us into your quarterback mind, and it kind of his best 2 plays of the night were when he had to escape pressure and roll out and makes a heck of a play, downfield for the 1 touchdown that we just saw the highlight of. But then you use the word confusion. Is there doubt come into the game maybe where you do see some of these things where he steps up and he overthrows a guy, and not overthrows a guy downfield, but out to the flats, a ball 3, feet over a guy's head? Is that just all kind of work from that confusion and being maybe a little bit unsure of being able to step forward and zip one on the numbers of your receiver?
Absolutely. Whenever you're confused and you're not confident, then it's hard to rip the ball and be able to be accurate with your placement. And, you could just tell early on, his feet were a little jittery back there. He wasn't really seeing the field as a top tier quarterback should. And I think that when you're not seeing the field well, you have to rely on your legs a little bit more in order to make big plays. And I think that's why you saw his biggest 2 plays of the game. They come from using your legs and breaking down the defense and then finding a guy as you're on a scramble drill. So when you're struggling, your biggest plays are going to come from scrambling and broken plays. That's the only way to make things happen when you aren't seeing the field too well.
And then on the contrary, what a flip of confidence that, BC starts with the ball. They hand the ball off twice, go 2 and out. The Riders punt to the Riders. The Riders go downfield, score a touchdown, kick off, get the ball right back. I think that one ended up in a field goal. So Trevor's early in the game. He's feeling it. He's moving the ball. He's up 10 points. And by the time Nathan comes back onto the field, he's trailing. And then you're trying to find your game there. So it feels like Trevor's playing with a ton of confidence. And yeah, he's looked really, really sharp, especially coming off last week where he was fine numbers wise, but he felt like he really took over this game in my eyes. Their doubles.
Absolutely, and I think you have to give Coach Mueller, the offensive coordinator, so much credit in noticing from film that BC jumps a ton of intermediate routes. They had a great play on with a double move to Myers. Emulus had a deep ball. There were huge plays this week that you haven't seen that much in the past. So just a great job of taking advantage of the aggressiveness of the BC defense. And then once you can get a touchdown early and you're up 10. Now the defense feels that pressure. They're trying to make a play, and you want to take advantage of that as an offense because they're going to get extra aggressive when they're down, and that was just made it perfect for Trevor and this offense to take advantage of the big plays down the field.
Was there a play offensively that you were really impressed with, something that surprised you? Harris going deep, the little dump off to AJ, I thought was a sexy looking play. Anything from your scope?
Yeah, I was just glad to see Trevor throw the ball downfield in the middle of the. If you look at most of his big plays earlier in the season, there are deep balls on the sideline, having guys run by other guys, the DBs out there. So I was just impressed to see Trevor show his arm strength and turn the ball loose in the middle of the field and be able to hit those 22 to 25-yard throws across the middle. I'm not saying that I was sitting here questioning if he still had it, but it was just good to see him stretch the field throughout the middle and not necessarily attack the sidelines.
I really feel that the Riders receiving core is almost underrated. I'm not sure they get talked about enough. I find that during games, they find a way to get a lot of 50-50 balls. They battle for position when balls are coming to them, and then they run hard after they get it. Maybe talk about what this group has seen. They week in and week out, they have a different guy at the top of the receivers list. Having Kean Schaefer-Baker out, Emilus comes back, right? So it's a group to me that across the board can get the job done.
Absolutely. I think when you look at this group, there's not really a weakness in their game. Like if you come up and you try to pressure them, well, they all can beat you deep. And if you sit back, they all run intermediate routes very well. So I think the fact that they all do things well, it's very complimentary to Trevor. Now you can't key in on a certain guy as a defense. You have to respect the entire field. So with everyone out there being a threat to attack the DBs anywhere on the field, it just makes it easier for you as a play caller, and it makes it easier on Trevor to just pick and choose and go through his reads and make sure he finds the right guy.
And then, like you said, the play caller for Mark Mueller, right? It's like he's got the abundance of riches. It's like, okay, well, we're going to do this now. We're going to do that. And you've talked about it a number of times on here, and it's just football. You can keep teams guessing.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I thought that the threat of the deep ball was gone when Sean Bain was injured. He showed over the past couple of years that he's probably the number one deep threat out there. But the way Dante Myers has just stepped up this year and shown that he can do everything. And I think early on in the year, you see Trevor hitting him on slants and hitting him on in routes, and now he's attacking down the field. Every game can set up a different play for the next game, and you're waiting on that aggressive style defense so you can take advantage of these guys' skill set. So, showing the quick throws early on, the short throws early on this season is just opening it up for the deep balls down the field. So, hell of a job by Coach Mueller, just recognizing that this is the perfect team to set these double moves up against, and they work perfectly.
Robustelli.
Yeah,
you have some love to that guy. Like
absolutely.
Anybody that's kind of watched, you've seen him and all that. Okay, let's get to the running back situation. Doubles, and you never want to see it. You've probably seen it. You've been on the field when it happens. And RP mentioned too that he just a couple plays before, he sees Carey make a heck of a block, right? He just seemed like he was fitting in whatever they needed. Probably wasn't running the ball as much as people thought, but the blocking, and that is such an important thing. And then he goes down. Obviously, I'm sure you were gutted as well for him.
Absolutely, man. To see a guy, be released early in the season and then work his way into finding a roster spot and being able to dress. And then, you can tell he's picking up the system because he's in on crucial downs. He's picking up blitzes. He's doing everything right. So this is just devastating for Carey. I feel so bad for him. And, wish them the best. It's tough on running backs when they have leg injuries. And as you get up there in age, you really don't get the opportunities that you used to get when you're a little bit younger. So, I hope that everything works out well and, he can get as healthy as soon as possible.
Doubles, what's that feeling like on the field? I mean, we've seen these types of injuries from time to time. It's the reality of playing the sport. But what's that feeling like on the field that you see your teammate, your brother go down? Obviously, it doesn't look good. And then he hops off the field and you guys got to get right back in the huddle and go back to work. Is there things from a quarterback's perspective that maybe you used to say, or is the team just rallying together, or is it something that you just try and kind of blindly move on from?
I mean, of course, you say your prayers first and foremost, but you let the team know, like, let's do it for Kadeem. Let's make sure we go out there. We all know how hard he's worked to get to where he is now, the unfortunate situation he had in Toronto. So you go out there and you want to, put your game on the line and do everything you can to at least bring back the win for him. I mean, there would be nothing worse than to fly back after a loss knowing that one of your brothers went down with such a horrific injury. So you just want to get out there and you have to forget it because it's such a gladiator sport and, you can't go out there and play tentatively. But, of course, you keep it in the back of your mind that these things can happen and you feel bad for them, but let's go out there and win the game for them as well.
All right, the tough question in the debate we've been having, and people have been texting in a lot. What would you do? And Luke brought in a good point and then you brought up a good point too, where you got guys on the neg list and all that. A lot of people are throwing out Walter Fletcher. A lot of people throwing out, including me, Frankie Hickson, who knows it. There was Mario Anderson, who was let go after camp. What would you do?
At this point in the season, you have to go with a vet. I think, AJ is one hit away from, the same type of situation. You hope that it doesn't happen, but you want a veteran guy in there. I'm sure Trevor would love a veteran guy beside him that can pick up these blitzes and these odd looks that some of these defenses may give you. So, I'm for building up a young guy, but at this point in the season, when you're playing well, I think you have to be a veteran.
Out of 100, odds that Andrew Harris could play a couple games?
I don't think he could. No, I don't think he could. Not at this point, man. I mean,
I asked you. You said you had a few plays left in you.
I know, but I don't have to run, right? It's different for a running back. I don't know, man. I mean, it depends. You know what? I don't know Andrew well enough to know how good of shape he keeps himself in. So don't let me answer that. But as a running back and you haven't been training extensively for a long period of time, it's tough.
Oh, yeah, it would be tough for sure.
Need him to play a few blocks.
That's right. Hey,
he has to run.
Last week we were sitting here after the Riders lost versus Calgary, talking about how difficult the West Division is going to be. Do you feel like your feelings have changed at all? Seeing it in now we're 7 games in. There's been a lot of lopsided games, and we felt like BC was going to be a threat. And again, it's just one game. I don't want to overstate it. But it feels to me like Calgary and Saskatchewan have really asserted themselves on top of this West Division, and the other teams at this point are chasing them.
Yeah, I would definitely put Calgary and Sask at the top of the league. A lot of people are looking at Winnipeg and kind of feel like they're out of it, but I wouldn't count them out, man. Whenever you're consistently playing for the championship year after year, I need to see a season where they either don't make the playoffs or get knocked out in the first round for me to say that they're done. So that's a veteran team over there. Of course, Zach, he's been dealing with getting banged up a lot, but it's just something about a team that has a championship pedigree that you just can't count out. So I definitely will put Calgary and Sask at the top, but I just cannot see a world where I don't include Winnipeg in that just because they've lost a couple games early on in the season.
Did you watch that? Did you have a chance to watch that Calgary-Winnipeg game?
Yes, I did.
Main takeaways from that?
I mean, Calgary is who we thought they were. I mean, this team is just playing outstanding football. That defense led by Baron Miles, the offense led by Dickey. I mean, I think you have to more so give Calgary the credit than say, Winnipeg didn't play well. I mean, when you're playing against a good football team and possibly the best football team in the league, I mean, no one really would play well against them. So I just want to see how the season progresses a little bit, see Winnipeg against some other teams, and then I can be the judge on them a little bit more. But right now, Calgary's the top dog, and they're playing like it each and every week.
It's not how it works, Doubles. We need answers now. You don't get to wait.
I know. But, I just try to come from a strictly football perspective here and maybe give fans a insight of it's not about feeling, right? It's about what goes on in between those lines. And Calgary is just beating up on everybody they're stepping on the field against right now. So, I don't want to discredit the teams that they're playing against until they play other teams. But right now, Calgary is just showing their dominance.
So many question marks too, with some quarterbacks being in and out, and we know that this is a heavily quarterback-driven league. So we start to see Davis Alexander now come back from injury, get a win. Now he's back on the 6-game injured list again. Zach questioning, what he'll be this week after him getting knocked out of the game there as well. So a lot of up in the air of teams. Just maybe we don't know what they are right now.
Exactly. It's so early in the season, right? And we used to have, as RP, we had a saying in the locker room that the real season doesn't really begin until after Labor Day. You want to try to compound as many wins as you can earlier in the season, but you know exactly who you are after Labor Day. And I think we'll have a better picture of who these teams are, especially Montreal and Winnipeg, when they can get their quarterbacks back.
Who does young Damian Alford remind you of? There's a receiver, tall guy, out jumping everybody, just throw him up. Yeah, Curtis is doing the, what is it, Moose?
Yeah.
Does he remind you of anybody, Doubles?
Oh, man, that's so tough. I can't recall a 6'6", 6'7" guy with that type of speed that I've ever seen in the CFL. I mean, I guess the closest guy would be a young S.J. Green, but, SJ was more of your intermediate guy. He wasn't, beating you with speed down the field. So, this is kind of a unicorn situation, I think. I don't think I've seen a guy this tall with the ability to break down run routes, catch the 50-50 ball, just be able to do any and everything. So it's looking like he's going to be a special player.
We better enjoy him in the CFL while we
Absolutely.
can. So
definitely going to be shipped off somewhere. All right, what do you think about Edmonton coming in? Coach Mace didn't want to call it a trap game. He's like, professional football. Edmonton coming in last year, they came in 2-0. We were 3-0 when they came in, or whatever, and they beat us 4-0 last year. What do you see with Edmonton rolling in here with their revolving quarterback door a little bit?
I don't think Coach Mace will let this team sleep on Edmonton this year, especially coming off of a bye. They're going to have some trick plays. They're going to try to do some things differently with Trey Ford. But I don't think Coach Mace will let his team slip up and overlook this game. So, and as far as Edmonton goes, I really think that there'll be a quarterback change within the next couple weeks. I like Trey Ford as an athlete, but I just don't think that he has the talent around him, one, and the system, that allows him to thrive. So I don't think this will be a trap game at all. I think the Riders will come out ready to go, and I don't think it'll be close.
All right, we're playing SaskTel Pick the Score, and it's Monday, and we usually ask you, give us your score for this week.
I think it'll be a 35-20 game with the Riders. They care of Edmonton pretty easily, I think, and I think we'll see Cody Fajardo in the second half for the Elks.
There we go. All right, Doubles. Thanks so much for doing this. Let's regroup on Monday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Dubs.
Right on. Double Talk with Darian Durant brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. If your workplace doesn't have the proper safety program, you can call them at Campbell Safety Consulting. 35-20. I haven't had a chance to look at what the over-under would be. I nailed all three of my Rider. Hey, hold on, though. The Rider game, I had Myers, anytime touchdown. I had Riders heavy on the money line. And I hit the over-under, but then... Oh, and get this, I took... on Friday, I took Calgary money line. I don't know why I did. I'm just like, you know what? Let's roll.
Yep.
And but then yesterday, for some reason, I took the over in the Ottawa-Hamilton game. That wasn't... That's right. It wasn't a great football game, let's be honest. But Doubles is going 35-20. You can have your pick to score play as well at 936-6262. A chance to win tickets to Friday night's game. Curtis is going to award those later on after the show, and also a chance to win a $200 SaskTel gift card. Time for a break. It is the Sports Cage, streaming through YouTube at SportsCage.com. All right. Yeah, we missed. Somebody's talked to Darian. Riders haven't signed a running back yet. Maybe tomorrow we'll see that come down. Nothing else new as players weren't on the field today. They're home to Edmonton Friday at 7 p.m. Regina's at Moose Jaw tonight in the Western Canadian Baseball League. Saskatoon's playing a double dip in Weyburn, Swifts and Medicine Hat. Major League Baseball, the Jays and Yankees start a series tonight. The Jays are 3 games up in the AL East. And don't forget, you don't want to miss the latest news from Riderville with the Sports Cage Insider Report. Sign up today by clicking on the Insider Report at sportscage.com. The latest news on the Roughriders will be delivered daily to your inbox with a chance to win Rough Rider tickets. All you need to do is find the code word to enter. That is your Hour 3 sports ticker for our friends at Regina Steelcraft Doors. Built in Western Canada for Western Canada, and they're now into their new 40,000 square foot location. So if you need a garage door, they have it. A lot of pick the scores coming in, fellas. SaskTel pick the score up until the top of the hour, and everybody's picking the Riders for the most part. So there's a little tip for everyone that wants to play along. I would say, like Darian said, Coach Mace isn't gonna let what happened last year when Edmonton had no business. Didn't we score on the kick return too in that game? And I feel like I picked a special teams touchdown. We nailed it, and then it was just all down.
Yeah, I remember the loss. I don't remember the details right off the top of my head, but I remember it being a bit of that type of game, and Edmonton coming in with some struggles, and so we've got to make sure that that doesn't occur. And this team, honestly, I know it's early and lots of things can change, but they give me a feeling here. I think that they've got something rolling. I love the response after the Calgary game. You could just even tell by Coach Mace's interview after the game and then after day one of practice that there wasn't something that they were just accepting. It was they were going to go out and correct it and change it. And BC was next up on the schedule, and they felt it.
At what point is it too early to start looking or worried? And you can punch me because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there right now that are going to punch you about smoke on Friday. I know it's been better a little bit up there. They're getting some rain in some areas, but at what point do we start looking at that? Because that would be devastating is a hard word.
Yeah. But to go back through it again, I mean, obviously it's a reality if that's what the forecast is looking like. I did hear some reports this morning that, they are getting some favorable conditions up north, just north of Waskesiu there. But, hopefully first and foremost, hopefully that those fires can get contained and the safety of all the people in the area, can be the forefront. But from that, hopefully the weather cooperates and not a heavy, north wind that's bringing a bunch of smoke down our way.
Friday night football under the lights, a cold beer, some Western pizza. Looking forward. Okay, so if you're watching the stream, he sent you a video earlier. We talked about hits on quarterbacks, and we played a few of them, and a couple were nasty. The Drew Brown hit by Deshaun Amos led with his head, no doubt about it. And then the Zach Collaros, how his head hits the turf, not a good look. You brought up one that if you're a CFL fan, you're going to remember.
Yeah, Craig Butler on Buck Pierce. I think this is it's Old Winnipeg Stadium, but I think it is the Labor Day rematch, pre-Banjo Bowl. So there's Brendan Labatt. So that would be pre-2012. Must be 2011 here. And yeah, to me, that is the one that I remember. And we always used to have a bit of a running joke is Buck Pierce had a tough time with the Riders. There was a few nights BC came to Old Taylor Field and he took some lickings there too. But that's a shot that stands out for me right there. And you know what's funny? In talking to Coach Daniels earlier, typically the big shots on the quarterback don't come from D-line guys. They come from the guys coming off the edge. Craig being a safety at this time. Whether it's a linebacker blitz, whether it's a safety blitz, whether it's that halfback jumping down. Those are the guys because they don't see them coming at all. A lot of times if a D lineman gets through, you at least have eyes on him and can protect yourself. But that's Drew Brown gets beat off a very similar play or gets hit off a very similar play to that one as well.
Yeah, the Drew Brown one, and people were talking online, if you're watching the stream, I think Kurt's going to play right here, that he didn't have his helmet done up. And I don't know, joked her if that's the sty thing, as the kids call it. Sometimes it's like why doesn't that guy have his mouth guard in or his chin strap done up properly? But you see it there, and then...
That would have been a good question for doubles too, because if I'm guessing, and I noticed actually Nathan Rourke plays the same way. He has the one side undone. I'm totally speculating here that whether they feel like if the chin strap's done up, they can't vocalize as well because those chin straps are tight. They're there so that doesn't happen. What just happens here. There's a two-way street in my mind. I'm not saying that's he deserved to get the crown of the helmet to the jaw here, but would that other, would that being placed on right and buckled up help them? Well, it wouldn't have hurt them more, right? So,
True.
Sure. Maybe there's an opportunity there for the league to start saying that helmets need to be buckled up correctly, and maybe everyone should start wearing 2 mouth guards that I've been seeing as well. Is that just the most ridiculous? Now I'm going to show my age. I like to think I'm cool, but when I see that, I can't buy into it. A mouth guard in the mouth and then a mouth guard just hanging off the helmet. I don't get it. It's
somehow, some way, our kids are going to try and figure out a way to do it in flag football.
That's right.
Because they're seeing it everywhere now. But then the Zach Collaros hit by Clarence Hick. Clean hit. And it's just how he goes back and hits his head on the turf. You see it here if you're watching the stream. Now, we talked in hour 2, and everybody is aware out there, and we've had a number of messages on the Prairie Land Rental text line. It's like, how many more of those can he take? I don't want to count and don't want to say, but you could see how jarring that was. And then when Strevler goes in, he didn't look too sharp, but again, Calgary, I gotta start giving them more respect. They played Strevler so well and kept them running, and they almost knew that he wants to throw to his left side, and when it's not there, he escapes right. And then they took that away. Maybe I'm just speculating and reading into it, but that's what they just played him solid. Yeah, he's not going to beat you with his arm. If you can get him kind of off his spot, and he's a running guy, but he's not going to be able to beat you with his arm. So if you can keep him contained and get him moving and make him uncomfortable, that's going to be the real key there. But the one thing about Zach, I know from the outside and as fans, we, you like to look at him and see that he's been hit lots and those negative things, but
he's a tough player, and you see the shot he takes, and part of the reason he takes that shot is he's willing to stand in that pocket to deliver the throw. So he knows that pressure's coming. He steps forward and puts that ball downfield, knowing that he's going to take a hit, and unfortunately he ends up on the back of his helmet there.
I feel that's always going to, like you said, it's always going to happen. It's football, and that's what I feel that Trevor Harris has taken a couple this year from just hanging on to the ball that split second too long, which he's really usually good. Today, even if it's not there, I'm just going to dump it off. I'm just not going to take a lick. And he's taken a couple licks. It's tough to speculate. You know, we're not in there. We're not in the pocket playing professional football. Then the other rumor that we had, and people were messaging in on the text line as well, is Mario Anderson allegedly here, he got on a plane to Regina today. I don't know how anybody would know that. That's next level creeping, maybe. But to all that, and he was in camp. He got released, played for South Carolina, Gamecocks, played some good football. I'm trying to look at where he's actually from or where he would have hopped on a plane or living. But if that's the guy, because you said it when you first came on, because you worked with the organization, it's like they kind of go through their neg list, and then there's kind of a trickle down.
Yeah, they'll have a pool of guys. I mean, that's what the front office's job is. They always at all positions have kind of a ready list. 3, 4, 5 guys that could potentially come in if something happens. There would be a mix of veterans and a mix of guys on their neg list. Guys with CFL experience, maybe guys that are right out of college or just recently got released by an NFL team that could potentially still be looking for work. But they'll work through that and see what the right fit is for them. Again, on the surface and in the immediate, they're not looking for a guy to come in here and necessarily push AJ Ouellette and take all these meaningful reps.
You got Thomas.
That's right. They need a guy to get on the roster for this week. Potentially be able to spell AJ with some downs here and there, and as I say, get in there and block. And the real underrated thing, especially losing Thomas, is because of that special teams impact as well. CFL rosters are smaller than NFL rosters, so a lot of those guys have to either cover kicks, cover punts, what have you. So someone that could come on and potentially contribute there would be an important piece as well. So it's not only Mark Mueller, and the offense that's looking at who can come in and fit, but Coach Majuri would have a look at this as well and see if there's someone on their list that could potentially come in and help on some teams' areas as well.
That's a good point. Craig in Regina says, I think Jackie Mitchell destroyed Dickinson with BC back in the day. That does ring a bell on a big hit. The Buck Pierce one, now that we played it and we remember, there was another text here that we got, and it's Dustin in Calgary. If/when Schaefer Baker gets healthy, I think our receivers are playing so well, he'll have to earn his spot back. Thoughts? That's going to start coming up here now more and more as every game goes by, and we see these receivers playing so well, spreading it out. Every game there's like one, if not two guys.
I would agree if he wasn't Canadian. So what I mean by that is he has the opportunity. What it does allow him to do is to get all the way healthy with this depth.
Rush.
It allows him to get all the way healthy. But being able to add a game changer, a guy of his level, and be a Canadian to help the ratio, and being able to put American on somewhere else, whether that's even the starting role or just in a support role somewhere, that's a big piece. The hard part is going to be is that an American receiver, one of these guys that's playing so well right now, is going to come off. It's the bad side of having so much good, but in the end, there's going to be guys that get nicked up and need to come out, and it's just the reality.
Who do you think comes out? first?
Well, honestly, it's tough to say. On the surface, I would say Roselli. He's the last guy to go in. So on the surface, I'd say he'd be the first guy to come out. But that's what's been the challenge. And sometimes those guys go in, they get an opportunity, and they do things that we don't see because so much goes into, just catching balls. That's part of it for sure. But when you run 70 offensive plays and you get 4 catches potentially, there's a lot of plays out there that you got to be doing your job, whether you're blocking, whether you're coming into the box and helping out, whether you're just stretching the field and running hard to open up and underneath. The list goes on, but there's lots of things that go into that grading part.
And the opposition. Does it fit well against what the opposition's going to have on the other side? Because the Riders are home to Edmonton this Friday, and then it's Montreal. Mm-hmm. And going into Montreal, tough place to play. So yeah, it's a really good debate, and I think that one's going to have legs for a while. I would think as well. Robustelli would be the guy. Who knows? But there's going to be no rush in Kean Schaefer-Baker coming back for sure. And then on the running back, now I'm starting to with this Anderson debate and what people are messaging in and saying that I would have on the surface and right away I was like, oh, Frankie Hickson knows the playbook. He's here. How the breakup finished and he left town, I don't know. Maybe there is some hard feelings there. Maybe some things were said. Never know. That it's not back. And then what is Walter Fletcher doing? I know Curtis efforted today to try and track him down and see what he's up to or try and figure out anything, which we couldn't. So there's a lot to talk about, and there's going to be a lot to talk about this week. But would you think that some sort of release comes tomorrow before practice?
It'd be my guess. My guess in my limited experiences around those situations, it's not a Sunday morning thought even. There's been times in my time around the team that situations like this happen and you're already making phone calls in the middle of the game and reaching out to an agent or trying to get some things in order because you are looking at guys that could be in North Carolina at the time or in Florida.
Three connectors to get to Regina.
That's right, and making sure that they have a passport or they travel ready, which usually when they're on the ready list, those questions have already been asked. But yeah, it's wheels in motion, and you'd want to get someone in here and get them that 3 days of practice. And sometimes it's not possible. And sometimes if it is a veteran guy, you get him when you can get him, if you feel like that's the best option. But as I said earlier, if I was a betting man, which I am occasionally. Yeah. I'd like to dabble a little bit, not too often, but
why not?
If I was a betting man, I would say that there'd be some sort of release sometime tomorrow morning before practice, and we'd see a body or potentially two come out to practice.
I want to give a shout out here to the Bomb Squad from Regina, representing Canada at the 14U international tournament or international side of the tournament at the NFL Flag Championship in Canton, Ohio. We had a couple of them on the show a few weeks ago. They lost in the semifinals to Mexico, 21-14. Mexico goes on and wins gold. They beat Mexico in the preliminaries. So good showing from the club there. And also Saskatchewan took bronze at the U18 Football Canada Cup, beating Quebec 36-8. I think Alberta came back and beat Ontario in the final on that. So good showing to them. We're playing SaskTel Pick the Score, 936-62-62. Curtis, should we go into the Red Sox report now? Before? Is that a good idea? And kind of wrap things up with RP? Let them know. Royal Dinner, if anybody wants to come and watch Bruce Boudreau and Arash Madani speak, hey, you get Ryan will be there as well.
I'll be there. I might even say a couple words.
It's look up. How do they get? Just email the club?
Yeah, contact the club. We've got a couple of, literally a couple, 2 tables open right now. If you're interested in a table right now, it's only tables. So yeah, email the club. It'll get to me and I'll get you sorted.
Prime rib. Champagne, Bruce Boudreau, Arash Madani. A lot of fun. Thanks again for coming in and doing this on a Monday.
Fun. Busy day. It was lots of good sports talk. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know, you go into prepping the show on Saturday, or like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? And then, boom, before you know it, on Monday, there is a lot. So, yeah, we'll get right now, before we send her off, to Tegan, who has the Red Sox report.
Showcasing the boys of summer. Time for another edition of the SportsCage Regina Red Sox Report on 620 CKRM.
For Unifor 594, energy workers putting the caring career since 1942. Safety is our business. I'm Tegan Whitco. The Regina Red Sox are back on Saskatchewan soil following a tough Alberta road swing. That's where they managed just one win in 4 games against both the Brooks Bombers and Okotoks Dogs. Last night's game in Moose Jaw was washed out due to rain, but the Sox won't have to wait long to get back on the diamond. They'll square off with their Trans-Canada rivals tonight in a makeup game to launch another jam-packed week of action. And it is a busy stretch for the Red Sox, starting with a swing through Medicine Hat, then Lethbridge, and then a Friday night rematch against the Mavericks on the road. The weekend promises plenty of action at Currie Field, with back-to-back doubleheaders on tap. The Sox will face the Weyburn Beavers in 3 of those contests before wrapping up their homestand with a Sunday night showdown against the Swift Current 57s. With a 22-18 record, the Regina Red Sox still sit at 3rd in the East Division, trailing the first-place Saskatoon Berries by 11.5 games as the regular season enters its final weeks. And that's your Red Sox report for Unifor 594.
Yeah, this is kind of the bow on things. Still got about 5 minutes. Sastel picked the score. Curtis is saying 4 minutes, sorry. 936-6262, Prairie Land Rentals text line. Show tomorrow, we're going to talk about the good things and the new things that are coming up for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. We're the 50-50 right now, and you get into the early bird for this week. Kananaskis Nordic Spa, 2 nights at Kananaskis, 1 day hydrotherapy, or you could just take 2,700 cashola in the jeans. Riders 5050.ca. We're going to talk to them. Arash Madani's coming by, Glenn Suter, and we're going to find out more from the Riders. Dave Thomas is going to be down there. It is tomorrow where we find out who they're bringing in at running back. So we'll have all that tomorrow, back here 3 to 6. Thanks so much. It was for Kellen Solar today. Thanks to everybody who was on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. One of the busier days in the last little bit. Let's do it all again tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.